Have you ever noticed how people only recognize the value of something once it's gone? They take your love, your time, and your energy, acting like it will always be there, as if you'll always be waiting. And then one day, you're not. They assumed you were an option they could walk away from, neglect, and take for granted, hoping you'd still be there, longing for their return. But the moment you stop chasing, the moment you take back your power, everything shifts. They will feel it, and when that moment comes, they won't just want you back, they will beg. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." Right now, it may feel like they won, like they walked away and never looked back, as if everything you gave was wasted. But listen carefully, they haven't won. They simply don't realize yet that they are on the losing side. When the truth finally hits them, the regret will be unbearable, stronger than anything you could ever say, stronger than any silence you could give. Because people never truly value what they had until they understand they can never have it again. Right now, they believe they're in control. They assume you're still tied to them emotionally, still checking for a message, still looking at their social media, still hoping for a sign. But what they don't know is that something inside you is about to shift. The moment you redirect your energy, the moment you stop waiting, is the moment the tables turn. Because when you go silent, they start listening. When you move on, they start looking back. And when you become the one who no longer waits, that's when they realize they made the worst mistake of their life. Think about fire. Fire burns the brightest when it's fueled, but when neglected, it fades, weakens, and turns to ash. That was your love for them. You gave warmth, passion, devotion, something real, and they let the fire die. But here's what they don't know. Fire doesn't just disappear, it transforms. It rises again, stronger, untouchable, beyond anyone's reach. You are no longer a small flame, waiting to be reignited. You are a wildfire, a force that cannot be controlled. And when they finally see you standing in your full power, they will wish more than anything that they had never let you go. They thought they could replace you, that someone else could fill your space. But what they don't understand is that people like you do not come twice. A heart like yours, a depth like yours, a loyalty like yours, that is not something easily found again. As the days pass, as the excitement of their choices fades, as they start comparing and remembering, the truth will hit them like a storm. They will never be you, and that will be the regret they carry for the rest of their life. But listen, this isn't about revenge. This isn't about games. This isn't about making them jealous. This is about stepping into your power, about remembering who you were before you ever needed to be chosen. You are always the prize, and the moment you know that, the moment you stop proving, stop begging, stop waiting, everything changes. Because a ruler does not chase. A ruler does not ask to be valued. A ruler does not sit in the shadows hoping to be noticed. Look in the mirror. That is not someone who needs validation. That is not someone waiting for regret. That is not someone who needs them to recognize their worth in order to feel it. That is a force. That is power. That is someone they will never, ever be able to replace. And when they finally realize what they lost, when they finally understand the truth, they will do the one thing they never thought they would have to do. They will beg. But by then, you won't need them anymore. Because the moment you become the one who does not wait, who does not chase, who does not lower themselves for anyone. That is the moment you rise into who you were always meant to be, the one who reigns, the one who commands respect, the one who no longer asks for love because they are love itself. That is a lesson they will never forget. Claim this: I do not beg, I do not chase, I reign. Let the world know that from this moment on, you are no longer waiting for anyone to recognize your worth, because the one who truly deserves you will never need to be reminded. If this message awakened something in you, if it reminded you of the fire that has always been inside you, like this and subscribe, because we are building an empire of unstoppable people. Together we rise, gone but never forgotten, when absence speaks louder than presence. Have you ever noticed how silence can be louder than words? How the absence of something can feel heavier than its presence? They didn't notice the way you cared when you were there. They didn't appreciate your effort, your kindness, your loyalty. They believed without question that you would always be around, always available, always waiting. But now, the space you once filled is empty, and that emptiness is suffocating them. At first, they felt free. They thought walking away meant stepping into something new, something exciting. They convinced themselves that moving forward meant leaving the past behind. But what they failed to understand is that real love is not something you replace. Real love leaves a mark, a presence so strong that even in its absence it lingers. And now, they feel it in every quiet moment, in every unanswered message, in every space where your presence once lived. A wise saying goes, "You don't know the value of water until the well runs dry." And that's exactly what has happened. They drank from your love without a second thought, believing the well would never run dry. But now, as they reach for something that is no longer there, they are drowning in the regret of what they let slip away. They underestimated you. They assumed you would always be there, waiting for them to return, to change their mind, to suddenly realize your worth. But what they never saw coming was this: you didn't beg, you didn't chase, you simply disappeared. And that is the most powerful move you could ever make. Because nothing shakes a person more than realizing what they once had is now something they can never reach again. Think of the sun. The sun does not beg anyone to stay. It does not chase after those who turn away from its warmth. It simply shines, and those who choose to walk away from it are the ones who find themselves lost in the cold, in the darkness, wishing they had appreciated its light when they still had the chance. That is exactly what is happening now. They thought they could leave without consequence, thought they could move on and never look back. But now, they are standing in the cold, realizing that what they had with you was irreplaceable. The most painful lessons in life are not taught through words. They are not understood through arguments. They are not proven through desperate attempts to explain. They are felt through absence. The moment you stop trying, the moment you stop explaining, the moment you step back and choose yourself, that is when the weight of their own choices begins pressing down on them. Right now, they may not say it out loud. They may not admit that they feel the loss, but they do. They see the difference. They feel the void. And no matter how many distractions they surround themselves with, no matter how many temporary highs they chase, there's only one truth that keeps creeping back into their mind. Nothing will ever make them feel whole again like you did. But here's the thing: they lost their chance because you are no longer the same person they left. You are not sitting in the shadows waiting for their return. You are rising, you are evolving, you are stepping into the version of yourself that no longer seeks validation from anyone who failed to see your worth the first time. The more they see this, the more they feel the shift. The more they realize that the person they once took for granted is now the person they cannot reach. They will try to ignore it, try to convince themselves that they made the right choice. But every time they look for something familiar, something comforting, something real, they will find nothing. And that is the moment regret will hit them the hardest. But understand this is not about making them suffer. This is not about revenge. This is not about playing games. This is about stepping fully into your power, because someone who knows their worth does not beg. Someone who understands their value does not lower themselves for those who are too blind to see it. And now, the power is in your hands. Let them feel your absence. Let them sit in the silence of their own choices. Let them watch from a distance as the door they once walked out of is now locked forever. And when they finally understand what they lost, it will be too late. They stood still while you kept climbing. Have you ever watched someone let everything slip through their fingers, thinking it would always be there? They believed you would stay the same, that no matter how much time passed, you would still be in the same place, waiting, hoping, longing for their return. But now, they see something they never expected. They stayed the same while you kept rising. And that is the moment they realize they lost something they will never get back. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And while you are outgrowing the past, rebuilding yourself, becoming stronger, wiser, and more untouchable, they were standing still, wasting time, thinking they had control. They thought leaving made them the winner, that walking away gave them power. But now they understand power was never in leaving. Power was in rising. And now, as they look back, hoping to find the version of you they once knew, all they see is your back as you walk toward something greater. Think of a staircase. Every step you take, every choice to heal, to grow, to put yourself first, is another step upward. At first, they don't notice. They assume you're still at the bottom, still exactly where they left you. But time passes. Step after step, you keep climbing. And suddenly, when they finally look up, you are no longer within reach. They reach for you, but you're already too far ahead. They try to climb after you, but the steps they ignored, the self-work they never did, the lessons they refused to learn, have now become mountains they cannot cross. They thought you wouldn't change, that time would stand still for them, that you would always be an option waiting in the background, ready for whenever they decided to return. But while they were wasting time chasing distractions, living as if they had endless chances, you were evolving. You became the person they never saw coming. You became the person they now fear losing forever. At first, they convince themselves it doesn't matter. They tell themselves they can find someone else, that they don't need you. But then, they see you. Maybe they hear your name in conversations. Maybe they come across a glimpse of your success. Maybe they stumble upon a picture of you, happier, stronger, radiating in a way they never saw before. And in that moment, something inside them shifts. The confidence they once had, the control they believed they held, all crumbles. because now they finally see what they were blind to before. They didn't just lose a person, they lost an entire future. And nothing haunts a person more than the realization that the future they were meant to have is now gone because of their own choices. But listen carefully. You are not the same person they left behind. You are not standing in the shadows waiting for their validation. You are standing in your power, stepping into your greatness, becoming the version of yourself that was always meant to shine. And when they finally realize what they lost, it will be too late, because the person they want back no longer exists. They will try to reach for you, try to find a way back in, but when they do, they won't find someone who needs their approval. They won't find someone hoping to be chosen. They will find someone who has finally understood they were always the prize. And nothing will haunt them more than that realization. This is your moment. The moment where you rise so high, they have no choice but to look up and regret. The moment where you stop waiting, stop explaining, stop proving anything to anyone. Because real power doesn't need words. It speaks for itself. They will remember you. They will compare everyone to you. They will search for you in places you no longer exist. But you will be too busy living. They took the fire for granted. Now they freeze without it. Have you ever noticed how people never truly appreciate warmth until they're left standing in the cold? When they had you, they felt secure. They never had to question your love, your presence, or your devotion. It was always there, steady, unwavering, like the glow of a fire on a winter night. They never thought about what it meant to have that kind of warmth, because it was always within reach. But now, they feel the emptiness, the chill of a world where your fire no longer touches them. They thought they could replace you, that they could find the same fire somewhere else. That love, the kind you gave, was something easy to find again. But what they don't know is that once a fire goes out, no amount of regret can bring it back. Right now, they may be acting like everything is fine, like walking away from you was the right choice. But deep down, something is shifting, because the warmth that once surrounded them is gone. And no matter how much they try to distract themselves, they feel the cold creeping in. The love you gave wasn't ordinary. It wasn't just words. It was action. It wasn't just affection. It was deep, unwavering devotion. And now that it's gone, nothing else feels the same. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And right now, that's exactly what's happening. They are beginning to suffer, not just because you are gone, but because of what your absence represents. When they look at their life now, when they look at the arms they replaced you with, when they hear words that lack the depth of yours, they realize something is missing. They may not say it out loud. They may not even admit it to themselves yet, but it's there, that aching, growing void where your fire once burned. Think of someone stranded in the middle of winter. At first, they don't notice the cold. They're distracted, moving forward, believing they will find warmth somewhere else. But the longer they walk, the deeper the cold seeps into their bones. They start shivering, longing for the heat they once felt, desperate to escape the chill. That is exactly what is happening to them now. At first, they didn't feel the loss, but now it's undeniable. They thought love was something easy to replace, that they could trade depth for excitement, stability for something new, that warmth like yours could be found anywhere. But now, as time passes, as they search for the feeling you once gave them, they start to compare. They remember the way you loved them, the way you understood them, the way you made them feel seen, valued, safe. They search for it in others, but they don't find it, because love like yours doesn't happen twice. And once someone realizes they walked away from something irreplaceable, the regret is permanent. But this is where everything changes. This is not the moment where you turn back. This is not the moment where you wait for them to wake up and chase after you. This is the moment where you rise, because the fire they lost is not theirs to reclaim. The warmth they once felt is now reserved for a world that truly deserves it. And the more you focus on yourself, on building, on growing, on becoming, the deeper the cold will settle into their bones. They will try to deny it, try to convince themselves they are happy, try to fill the void with distractions. But one day, when they least expect it, they will feel it. The loneliness that comes from knowing they made the wrong choice. They will think back to the nights you stayed up listening to their dreams, the way you believed in them even when they doubted themselves, the way your love made them feel invincible, and they will know no one else will ever love them the way you did. But by then, you will no longer be waiting. You will no longer be hoping, because you will have become something untouchable, something unshakable, and they'll be left standing in the cold, realizing they lost the one fire that could never be relit. For they let go of a diamond. Now they're left with stones. Have you ever seen someone search for something they once had but never appreciated? They look for it in every conversation, every touch, every moment, turning to different faces, hoping to find the same feeling they once took for granted. But no matter where they look, they can't find it. They thought moving on would be easy, thought love was something they could replace, that the connection they had with you could be found in someone else. But now, every person they meet is just a reminder of what they lost. They compare, they search, they hope, but no one can match the love, the depth, the fire that once came so effortlessly from you. And that is a regret they will carry forever. Seneca once said, "What was hard to endure is sweet to remember." And right now, that's exactly what's happening. They may not say it out loud. They may not admit it to anyone. But in the quiet moments, they remember. They remember the way you looked at them when you believed in them, the way you stood by them when no one else did, the way your love made them feel like the best version of themselves. And now they feel the difference. They thought they could trade you for something new, something different, something easier. But love is not something that can simply be replaced, because love like yours does not come twice. At first, they convinced themselves they had moved on, told themselves they had found someone else to take your place. But love doesn't work that way. It's not about finding someone new. It's about feeling something real. And no matter how much they try, no matter how many hands they hold, they will never feel what they felt with you. They will sit across from someone new, pretending not to notice the difference, pretending not to hear how their laughter doesn't sound like yours, how their words don't carry the same depth, how their love doesn't make them feel the way yours did. Imagine someone who once held a diamond but mistook it for glass. They didn't recognize its worth, didn't protect it, didn't cherish it. And one day they let it slip through their fingers, believing they could find another. But as time passes, they start to notice the difference. They pick up other stones, hoping they will shine the same way, but nothing compares. They polish them, examine them under the light, try to convince themselves they made the right choice. But deep down, they know the truth. They lost something rare, something priceless, something they will never hold again. That is exactly what is happening now. They might not say it. They might not even admit it to themselves. But every time they look at someone new, they are searching for something familiar, waiting for the same fire, the same devotion, the same presence that once surrounded them. But it's not there. And the more they search, the more they realize they let go of something irreplaceable. But here's the part that matters most. This isn't about them anymore. This is about you, because while they are out there searching for you in others, you are rising. You are no longer the person who waits, no longer the person who questions their worth, no longer the person who hopes they will realize their mistake. You are the person who no longer looks back. And when they finally wake up, when they finally reach for the love they once had, they will find nothing but empty space where you used to be. They had their chance. They had something most people search a lifetime for. And instead of holding on to it, instead of valuing it, they let it go. Now they have only two choices: spend their life searching for you in every person they meet, or face the truth that they lost the only one who ever truly saw them. But you are done waiting. This is your moment. The moment you rise, the moment you stop proving, the moment you stop chasing, because your worth is not up for debate. The love you gave was rare, powerful, unforgettable, and now you turn that love inward. You build yourself so high, so strong, so untouchable, that when they finally see you again, all they will feel is regret. They took it for granted. Now they live with regret. Have you ever noticed how people only realize what they had once it's gone? How they take love, time, and presence for granted, assuming it will always be there until one day it's not. They thought you would always be waiting, always available, always ready to forgive, until the moment you decided you were done being an afterthought. And now, regret is setting in. The memories are creeping back. The weight of their own choices is pressing down on them, because those who take something rare for granted always come to the same painful realization. They lost something they will never get back. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. They thought they were in control. They thought they could walk away, find another, move on without consequence. But what they never understood is that love is not guaranteed, respect is not permanent, and those who know their worth will not wait forever. At first they felt nothing. Maybe they even felt relieved, convinced they had made the right choice. They believed they could replace you, that someone else could fill the space you left behind. But as the days passed, as the distractions faded, something changed. They started to feel the emptiness. The messages from you stopped coming. The warmth you brought into their life disappeared. The support, the love, the deep, undeniable connection, gone. And in its place, silence, cold regret. Think of someone standing in a storm, holding an umbrella, completely protected. They never think about the umbrella. They never appreciate it, never question whether it will be there when they need it. They just assume it will always be there until one day, when the storm rages the hardest, they reach for it and realize it's gone. The very thing that shielded them from the worst of life is no longer theirs to hold. And now they're left standing in the rain, exposed, lost, wishing they had never taken it for granted. That is exactly what is happening now. They thought they could find another version of you, thought they could replace what they had. But what they are learning, what they are feeling in every quiet moment, is that you were never just another person. You were once in a lifetime. And now, when they look at others, when they compare, when they try to convince themselves they're fine, they know they made a mistake. Because no matter where they go, no matter who they are with, they will never find another you. At night, they remember. They replay the conversations, the laughter, the way your presence felt like home. They think about the moments when they should have chosen you, when they should have appreciated you, when they should have fought for you. But now, all they can do is regret, because you have changed. You have risen. You are no longer the person who would take them back so easily. You have stepped into your power, and they know it. This is the shift. This is the moment where everything changes, not for them, but for you. Because those who have been taken for granted, those who have felt the sting of being unappreciated, when they finally realize their worth, they become unstoppable. And that is exactly what you are now. No longer waiting, no longer questioning, no longer settling. You are rising, and they are watching helplessly, full of regret, knowing they will never have another chance. But this is not about revenge. This is not about proving anything to them. This is about choosing yourself. You were never meant to beg for love. You were never meant to fight for someone who should have seen your worth from the very beginning. And now you walk away, head held high, knowing that the deepest regret they will ever feel is the day they took you for granted. They see you rise but can never reach you again. Have you ever seen the look in someone's eyes when they finally realize they lost something they can never have again? That moment when the weight of their choices crashes down, when they understand that the person who once loved them so deeply is now untouchable. They thought they could leave and return whenever they pleased, thought you would always be there, waiting, hoping, wishing for them to come back. But now, they stand at a distance, watching as the person they once took for granted has become someone they will never hold again. Seneca once said, "A person who does not value what they have will one day be forced to see its worth in the hands of another." And that is exactly what is happening now. They didn't appreciate you when they had you. They believed they could walk away, find another, replace what they lost. But time is proving them wrong. Instead of fading from their mind, your absence is growing stronger. They see you thriving, glowing, becoming a version of yourself they never believed possible. And it's destroying them, because this time, no amount of words, no amount of regret, no amount of "I miss you" will be enough to bring you back. Think of a butterfly. At first it is just a cocoon, still, quiet, unnoticed. But then it transforms, breaks free, spreads its wings, and rises into something breathtaking. That is you. No longer the person who begged for attention, no longer the person who settled for less than they deserved. No longer the person who stayed in the background waiting to be chosen. You have become someone they can no longer reach. They assumed you would always be within their grasp, believed that even if they left, even if they hurt you, they could always return and pick up where they left off. But now, the door that was once open has been shut, locked, and burned to the ground. And no matter how much they regret it, No matter how many times they look back, they will never walk through it again. They watch you now, searching for the person they once knew. But that version of you no longer exists. The version that waited for them is gone. The version that questioned their worth has vanished. The version that once held on to hope for their return has been replaced by someone who knows exactly who they are, exactly what they deserve, and exactly what they will never tolerate again. The pain of losing you will not come from your words. It will come from your silence. It will come from the way you no longer acknowledge their presence, the way you no longer react, the way you live so fully, so beautifully, that they feel the emptiness of their own choices like a weight pressing down on them, because they had their chance and they lost it. They will try to find you in others, search for something familiar in new conversations, new hands, new faces. But no matter how many people they meet, no matter how many distractions they chase, no one will ever compare to you. And that realization will haunt them. But here's what you need to know. This is no longer about them. This is not about whether they regret it, not about whether they want to come back, not about whether they finally see your worth. Because someone who truly values what they have never has to lose it to understand its worth. A ruler does not wait for someone to recognize what should have been cherished all along. A ruler does not hold space for someone who was blind when they should have been grateful. Look in the mirror. That is not someone who begs to be seen. That is not someone who waits for an apology. That is not someone who lets another's mistake define them. That is power. That is transformation. That is someone who has risen beyond their reach. They realize it too late, and that is their lesson to learn, not yours to carry, because you are not looking back. You are not waiting for their regret. You are stepping into your own power, building a life so incredible, so untouchable, that when they finally look back, all they will see is a memory of the person they once had but can never have again. They realize too late you were one of a kind. Have you ever watched someone throw away something precious, believing it was just another ordinary thing? Have you ever seen them hold something rare in their hands, only to let it slip through their fingers, convinced they could find it again? That's exactly what happened when they walked away from you. They thought they had time. They thought they could replace you. They thought love like yours was something they could find anywhere. But now, reality is setting in, and they realized too late that you were irreplaceable. At first they felt confident. They believed their choice was the right one. Maybe they thought the excitement of something new would last forever. Maybe they believed they could walk away and never look back. But time has a way of teaching lessons that words never could. And as the days turn into nights, as the moments without you grow longer, as silence settles in, they feel it. The emptiness, the space you once filled, the warmth you once gave, the love that was once theirs. Now it's gone. And no matter how much they try to deny it, they know they lost something that cannot be replaced. Seneca once said, "The greatest loss is not measured by what is taken away, but by what could have been." And that is the pain they now live with. The pain of knowing that what they had with you was once in a lifetime, and they let it go. The pain of realizing that no one else will ever love them the way you did. The pain of looking at someone new and seeing everything that they are not. They thought they could find another version of you, But people like you do not come twice. Someone with your depth, your heart, your loyalty, that is something most people only get once. And the moment they let you go, they set a clock in motion, a clock counting down to the moment they wake up, look around, and realize no one else will ever be you. Think of someone lost in the desert. They see water in the distance, believing they have found salvation. They run toward it with everything they have, convinced they are about to quench their thirst. But when they reach it, it's nothing but a mirage, an illusion, a trick of the mind. That is exactly what is happening to them now. They thought they had something better, thought they had found something more exciting. But now, the illusion is fading, the thrill is wearing off, reality is sinking in, and they are starting to see the truth they left behind, the only thing that was ever real. Right now, they are comparing. Right now, they are remembering. Right now, they are feeling the loss in their bones. They thought walking away was a victory, but now it feels like defeat. And no matter how much they try to push it away, they cannot escape the truth. They had a diamond and treated it like glass. They had a once-in-a-lifetime love and walked away as if they could find it again. But they won't, and that is the regret they will carry forever. But here's what you need to know. This isn't about them anymore. This isn't about whether they regret it. It isn't about whether they want to come back. It isn't about whether they finally see your worth. Because someone who truly values what they have never has to lose it to understand its worth. A ruler does not wait for someone to recognize what should have been cherished all along. A ruler does not hold space for someone who was blind when they should have been grateful. Look in the mirror. That is not someone who needs to be chosen. That is not someone who needs to hear, "I made a mistake." That is a force. That is transformation. That is someone who does not look back. And when they finally see you again, when they finally realize what they lost, they will feel it. They will fall under the weight of their own regret. But by then, you will already be gone. Because this is your moment. The moment you take back your power. The moment you stop waiting. The moment you rise. They left, and now nothing stands in your way.